Okay, welcome everyone. Okay, so today we're gonna talk about like how agentic AI and maybe like the MCP word like most popular, and then you must have heard of it. So how that actually integrate with OpenSearch, and maybe how you can use it with multiple use cases. And we do have a short demo for you, so we're gonna show it off at later on. So yep, this is me, Aditya, and I'm currently working as a DevOps Engineer 2 or SRE at Forrester. Before this, I worked at Red Hat, and apart from this, I'm one of the CNCF ambassador and like mentor, open source contributor, and more. With me, I have Seema.
Hi everyone, I am Seema Saharan. I'm currently working as an SRE at Autodesk, and I'm also a CNCF ambassador, done a couple of certification and been speaking at OpenSearch and various other conferences since for many years now. And I also became AWS community builder, and we do organize some of the events back in India, like CNCG, AWS, and HashiCorp user groups.
Hello, everyone. I am Anshika, and I am currently working as a cloud support associate in AWS. And my background revolves mainly around DevOps, AWS, CI/CD, Docker, Kubernetes, and monitoring tool precisely. And I have also been contributing to the open source community through talks and collaborations. So let's move ahead, and I will walk you through the roadmap of MCP in OpenSearch. So here is the journey we will take together. We will start by understanding what agentic AI actually means in practice. Then, in just 90 seconds, we will demystify MCP. Not the low-level protocol details, but what it does and why it matters. Next, we will talk about the real problem MCP is solving. Think too many adapters, too many glue code, and MCP cleans that up. From there, we will show you what's new in OpenSearch 3.x that make it MCP ready. After that, we will dig into how OpenSearch support MCP both as a built-in server and a client. And yes, we will do a short demo. We will flip the switch to turn on MCP inside OpenSearch and query it live. Once you have seen it in action, we will explore the real-world use cases where OpenSearch plus MCP can drive value: healthcare, security, e-commerce, and market intelligence. Of course, before anyone gives their agent delete access to production, we will talk about safety belt as well, the guardrails you need to keep the safe. And finally, we will close the some key takeaways you can bring back to your team. By the end, whether you are new to AI or already experienced, you will know how OpenSearch MCP can fit into your toolkit. So let's begin. So let me start with what is agentic AI. Let's start what exactly is agentic AI. Think of it like an assistant that doesn't just answer your queries, but goes ahead and actually does the task. For example, instead of just telling you want you want to know what are the available flights for you for tomorrow, you want to you want to travel around the world, and just querying, is there any available flights for you? It won't just answer your queries. It can also take an actions for you. You can actually ask the agentic AI to book the flight tickets. Okay, so it compares options, book the ticket, and send you the confirmation as well. At its core, an agent plans what needs to be done, chooses and uses tools, observe the outcome, and adapt if needed. It's not just one shot question and answer. It's ongoing loop of planning and action. But for this to work, agents need constant access to refresh, trustworthy data, and safe way to act. Without that, they become useless quickly. That's why I like to say, if chatbot answers, an agent executes. So just imagine, you are just querying, there are agents, you just want to book some flights, you asked, is there any flight for tomorrow? You will get an answer. But what about you want to automate all of your actions too? You want to book the flights. You can just add an agent to it that, okay, just go to some travel app and there just book the flight for me. And it's not about one thing. You can give it multiple options as well. I want to travel so and so country and I want the weather to be warm as well. So you can also give it the access of a climate app so that through the API, it can identify shortlist for you and then it can book the flight for you as well. So this is how you can go ahead, and this is how the agentic AI just not only answers your question, but also takes the actions for you. Now, let's move ahead and understand what agentic AI, how it works exactly. So perceive, the agent first gathers the signal from its environment. This could be sensors, databases, or APIs, and extract the useful pieces of information. Think of it like the eyes and the ears of a system. Reason and act. A large language model works as the brain, coordinating specialized model or tools. Once a plan is made, the agent executes through APIs, automation, or external software. Similar to how human might decide what to do and then actually carry it out. Guardrails are placed here to ensure the safety and correctness. So as I mentioned, as I was carrying the example of booking the flight, so obviously when you are asking your agentic AI to book a flight for you, you don't want to give it the details of your cards, of your personal details. So you need to make sure, you need to place some guardrails so that your safety is also intact. Then it learns. Every interaction generates a new data. So feeding this back creates a data flywheel, meaning the agent gets better and smarter over time, more accurate, more efficient, and more aligned with the business goals. So this is how you can work with the agentic AI. Now, let me introduce why we need MCP with agentic AI. If it's already there, then what is the need of the MCP? So agents are there. As I mentioned you, agentic AI can interact with multiple agents. But we are also aware that multiple agents have different code. It's not necessarily, as I mentioned, that some weather application might be using a different code. Some booking application, flight booking application might be using a different language. So for every interaction with the agent, you need to build in every other API. So agents are smart as they actually go beyond and do tasks for you. But they are context starved. They need reliable data sources and safe ways to act, else they are useless. And that's where MCP comes in the picture. They made it easy for the agents. MCP solves this by giving agent a consistent menu of typed tools. So just imagine that connecting with different agents with different APIs, you need different wires, but instead you can use an MCP so that for connecting with different agents, there will be a single bridge. So just imagine, as every new tool requires another adapter to communicate with agent, here is where MCP comes in the picture. MCP gives a menu of tools and typed input and output that make it so easy for agents to connect and share required information. So, like if you give it a prompt to an agentic AI, it gathers the information and gives you the results. But for connecting with each and every agent, you need a different bridge. So it becomes a lot of overhead. So rather than we can use an MCP, it would be a single bridge to connect with different agent. Now, I will ask Aditya to further introduce you the MCP in 90 seconds.
Okay. So as like we already gone through like what the agentic AI is and maybe like how it's maybe like what it is and why we need even MCP with agentic AI. So maybe let's talk about more around MCP. So if you see like on the left side of the picture, like there are a lot of wires, or those are tangled, and there's another one that's a C-type adapter, if you see. So you can take the same example for the MCP itself. So even though like you have your laptop, you have your phone, you have your maybe AirPods, something like that. So you might need a different kind of cables. So it will be like the jumbled up, and it will be so tricky for you to use them. But let's suppose like if you have only one universal type C wire for everything, so how easy it is for you. The same way it works for agents. So when we talk about MCP, so it goes like this. So before MCP, if we see like we do had multiple tangled wire. So there's example you can see maybe you have your different different tools that you want to connect while talking to any agentic basically agents. So instead of using all of them, you can have your one single wire, or I would say one single utility, that's the MCP, and with that you can do all of that stuff. Going forward, like what's basically mainly MCP? So it's again a model context protocol, and it follows basically a standard handshake for all of the agentic AI that you have and for all of the agents. So it basically create everything so easy for you to communicate from agents to the basically the tools and give you all the info you need. So maybe again you can take it like the USB-C for the datas. So there are a lot of open SDK. Those are available in Python, TS, and more. So those are the like currently growing system. And if you see below, like we do have some agents here. So through MCP, we're gonna talk to OpenSearch. So yep, that's what the plan for today. So maybe let's move forward with that. Okay. So OpenSearch 3.x, that's what MCP introduced, and that's where from like we are talking here for OpenSearch. We are integrating how MCP can be useful while you're using OpenSearch for maybe analytics or data, querying things, or maybe going beyond that. So again, OpenSearch have their built-in MCP server. That's again in an experimental state currently. It's not ready for production, but yeah, it's so cool. I guess you should use it for once or twice, give it a try. And it have like public like maybe it's publishing some list index or search index for you. And again, after built index, there's MCP client agent that you can use. And the further versions that came in like 3.1, 3.2, those already came with a lot of expanded GPU support, or like general availability of protocol and more. Okay, so how OpenSearch basically supports MCP? So there are two ways. That's how that maybe you can connect the MCP, and then that can work with your whole application itself. At the same time, the data you are passing to basically OpenSearch. So the first one is like the built-in option that's starting from version 3.0, and the another one is like the standalone option that actually will work with the earlier versions also, and maybe with the external deployments you have. So if you see here, like we do have one LLM agent that's actually talking to the OpenSearch MCP server itself, and maybe other MCP servers also. So that's how maybe you can configure your architecture. So let's talk first about like how the built-in MCP server actually works, and how you can use it to maybe do a lot of stuff with that. So in built-in MCP server, like if you want to enable it, or maybe you want to try for the even experiment, so how that goes is first you have to enable the streamlined transport. Maybe I'll show you some the query that I have wrote. So there is a slide coming. So first you have to enable the streamlined transport support. So once that is done, you have to toggle MCP server, like which version you want to use, or that you have to enable. And after that, you have to register for the tool. That can be pointing to your agent. Maybe if you want to use the Bedrock, you want to use Cloud, or maybe any other SSE points that you want to have. So then built-in MCP server, that's how your actual, I would say, like architecture would look like. So you will have your agent that's talking to the OpenSearch MCP server, and at the same time, it's going from tools, and it's checking all of your indices and index and whatever you have passed the data. And accordingly, it will to take those further and give you the correct outcomes. Okay, again, like there are a lot of there are a lot of APIs that MCP supports for ML commas and AI searches and all. So these are some API that's already been there. You can use them for maybe register the MCP tool. You can update the MCP tool. You can list them by some basically get calls. You can remove if you, let's say, you have added a particular tool and later on you feel like, okay, this is not something I actually wanted. You can do that, and Then there is the SEC session. So it's something like maybe if you want to create a new session with another agent, there's another tool that maybe you want to try or you want to introduce. So on the time, this is the first thing that you need to create the sessions with. And again, there's a SSE message, so that's also can be useful. Going forward, like there are a lot of key benefits that you will be having with built-in MCP server with OpenSearch. So having that, like maybe you can having the, so you have the native integration. So it's like you can use vector search directly in OpenSearch at the same time, whatever things you have. So if I give you a basic example, so it's like, let's say you are passing, there is a Python application, and you are passing all of your logs to the OpenSearch. At the same time, you want to check, okay, how much 404 I have got last night, or how much 54 I have got last night, or something like that. You can just type it, and it will give you all the outcomes. Like, okay, so these are the things that you have got for particular indices, whatever you have stored. Or maybe if you want to check for particular indices, like how much things are there, and if there's any more redundancy you need, so you can do that. And again, there's a simpler ops. So there is nothing like you need to run another MCP server to deploy, or you have to manage those things. It's again built in. So once you deploy OpenSearch itself, it's coming with that. It's secure. So yep, it's again built in. So it's the same auth and access that OpenSearch is using. So it's used that only. Okay, so after that, we do have like maybe it do works with a lot of open source agents also. At the same time, if you want to go with AWS Bedrock and more, you can do that. Okay, so going forward, like as I said before, so there are two types. Like we can have built-in, or maybe you can use as MCP client. So if you are trying with MCP client, you can maybe try this one. So first you have to enable MCP and configure trusted connector endpoints. So for that, you need to again make this particular API call, and you need to pass the MCP server URL, whichever server you're trying to use. Okay, and once that is enabled, it will again the flow will go like this. So you can have your OpenSearch agent at the same time. You can use the tools, and it will be talking. It will be behaving as a client, and you will be getting all of the details or maybe the data from the external agents. Okay, so if we go forward with maybe the client one, so like there are some of the snips you can maybe check out of those. So if you see here, like when you create MCP connector, and then you have to register a LLM. So here what we are doing is we are creating a particular MCP adapter that's for ML Commons. So if you see here, like we are creating MCP adapter, and that's for where you need the MCP server key and the SSE endpoint and more things you will need for authorization if you're using something else. And if it's the like coming directly from OpenSearch itself, then you can use those keys. So the first thing you need to create the adapter, and after that you can register a particular LLM. So in my case, I'm using GPT-4o. So that's what you can use, and you can use your OpenAI key, so that you can find from the agent itself by going there and create a particular key. And that's how it's gonna work. And maybe you can again, once the register is complete, you can execute the task that you want to have. So going forward, like we do have, as like I told before, we do have a demo. So I'll hand over to Seema to going forward with the demo and infrastructure.
All right. Now we will understand about the demo architecture and how we have used MCP for our use case. So we have enabled our MCP server, we have registered all the tools, and we have already some of the indexes that we will use for the demo. Currently, we are using OpenAI GPT-4o Mini, and you can use any model. What we have seen is it works best with Claude for Sonnet. So it will give you the best results. That's what we have seen, but you can also check with your data and fine tune it based on your use cases. So, okay. So this is our application architecture right now. So in our local system, we have created a Streamlit application, which we will use for the UI purpose. Because if we are configuring MCP, the traditional way is to use the Docker containers and then use MCP clients, like you can use Cursor or something, but it's not very user-friendly, so we went ahead with the Streamlit application, and that will communicate in the backend with our agent. that is using OpenAI API GPT-4o Mini. And in our Docker containers, we are running OpenSearch dashboards and nodes. And like in the nodes, we have all the indices and products that we are using, and we are injecting all the logs and matrices to OpenSearch. So we have created a fast API application for that as well. So in my current setup, we have around 33 indices with different types of data, products, user logs, search queries, and system metrics. And how we can utilize this MCP is we can ask which index contains our product information and how can I optimize our cluster performance. We can also check general information like is my OpenSearch cluster healthy or not. And it can also provide some of the suggestions that we might miss because in production systems, we might have a larger database and a lot of engineers have to go through all the indices. So MCP makes it really easy to traverse through all the indices and correlate as well. So if someone is new to your team, MCP will be way much easier for them to get into and understand the whole architecture of your OpenSearch. So that's what we are using. So for token optimization, we have cut it down from 3.3 million to 60,000 tokens because cost is also there. So we wanted to spend lesser, but it can depend on your system as well. So we have e-commerce data, user activity, logs, search, query, system metrics. Each index has different fields. And that is also understandable by the MCP. So it can understand like if we have timestamp indices and other structure as well. And it can also correlate the data structure between different indices as well. And with Claude for Sonnet, what we have seen is it can also see what were the 4xx or 5xx errors that we had in our application. But with 4o Mini, it works slightly differently. It doesn't say what are the errors, but it just guides us that what query we can use to get the data. OK, let me switch to the demo. Just a second. OK, so OK, that will be tough for me. OK, so a couple of, OK, I didn't record that part, but we have created this UI, like we can get the whole health dashboard in the first tab. If you see, we will get to see all the indices that we have in our OpenSearch. And then there is an Explorer option where we can run the query within this application. And then we have AI chat support, so you can integrate your Bedrock models or OpenAI models or Gemini models, any model that you are using right now. And we have index analyzer as well. So we have ran a couple of prompts to see how well the MCP is answering our prompts. And sorry, it will be very difficult for me to see this. But yeah, so first I'm asking what indices do I have and what type of data do they have? Let me fast forward this a bit. Yeah, so you can see, so there is one more feature to this application. So we wanted to have two types of data. Like we can also have multiple contexts as in it can analyze all the indices at once. And we have one other context that uses a single index at once. So we can specify if we want to deep dive into one index, we can filter it out in the same application. And otherwise, we can just get the whole data. So right now, I have selected one index, for my Fast API application, which is Fast API app metrics. And for this, you can see it is giving index overview and field analysis. So it is basically listing all the indices as well. And it is providing recommendation and data that it is storing right now. Yeah, it can also understand the data patterns that we have. Yeah, so the second question that I'm asking is, sorry, what's that? Yeah, give me the,
Extend offer.
sorry, just a second. Stop extending. Choose.
Just duplicate it.
Is it here? It's here. Just a second. Entire screen. Okay. Okay, so next question I'm asking is, give me the health status of my cluster. So it will say like, it is listing all the indices and it's saying the cluster is healthy right now. And it also shows all the default indices that we already have in our OpenSearch cluster. Next I'm asking is, I need to search for product information. Which index should I use? Because I'm new to the team. I don't know like which indices do we have and we frequently use. So we can check like there is a products index already. So you can use that. And we can also explore alternative indices that are already in the top queries. Now I'm asking if it's able to understand the data structure across different indices. For this one, I have switched to multiple context so that it can understand all the indices that I have in my OpenSearch cluster. And it is listing everything, and it gives an indices overview first. Like I have ML model groups and ML tasks. And it also says for the recommendation for comparison, we have some fields, like you have a mix of keyword, text, date, and KNN vectors because we are using some machine learning models as well. And some of the empty indices that are that were maybe just for testing purposes. And we have some of the data redundancy, and it's saying the top queries indices have similar structure, indicating potential redundancy, considering consolidating them if they serve the same purpose. So we can get that kind of level if your cluster is huge. So you can understand all your data like that. It's pretty straightforward. And next, next prompt is, are there any indices with similar or duplicate data? Because we might want to reduce the cost and other factors. We don't want to duplicate everything. So since this is my local system and we have a couple of testing a few times, so we do have some of the similar indices already. And now I want to know what indices are growing fast and need optimization. Because I think optimization is a great thing to do for our OpenSearch. We just don't want to put data randomly, right? So it's also showing me current document counts. So you can see top queries, this index has 2952 docs, and other indices are pretty 0 docs, so that's fine. So the top one is top queries. And show me the pattern across my indices. What type of data am I storing? So basically, this MCP can help you understand your OpenSearch cluster on a deeper level. Yeah. So we have some observations, some recommendations, things like that. We can get it directly. We don't need to spend too much time and having multiple data analysts to go through all these indices. We can also ask this MCP to write some queries for us to search through the recent documents. So it can, sometimes it gives wrong query, but most of it works. So that depends on your LLM model that you are using. So, and you can also always adjust the fine tuning and your model temperature to get the most correct results. And next, we can ask, how can I create business intelligent dashboard from this data? So for this prompt, it didn't made much sense because OpenSearch already has some dashboards we can create, but it's also suggesting some of the other tools that we can go to, like Kibana or other BI tools. Next, I asked what metrics should I monitor for performance issues. So we kept on asking how well it answers, basically. Yeah. Next, because we were already using a fast API application that is using LLM app in the backend. So we asked if we had any 4xx or 5xx errors. When we were doing the testing in our local with cursor and other LLM model, it was able to tell us how many errors that we have, like it gave the count and how we can rectify it or analyze it. But with this agent, it didn't work very well. So yeah, you can test it out with multiple models, whichever works for you. Next, sorry. This. Okay, so some of the real world use cases that you can utilize your OpenSearch MCP is healthcare, diagnostics, e-commerce, personalization, security analytics, and market intelligence. It really depends on your data and your use case that you already have. And the more the data, the more correct answers you will get from this. And we have some example, like we have a user that is an active shopper with a long purchase history, and it queries wireless headphones, and the AI agent will first analyze the user behavior, then it will search purchase patterns, and then go through the product catalog and search through the relevant items. And since we are already using Agentic AI, it will be much more relevant and the correct results, because earlier when we were using KNN vectors, it was giving good results. But with LLM models, we can enhance the search results as well. We can apply the personalization, and we can have ranking boost based on the documents count and etc. Like there are various factors for that. And we have expected outcome should be personalized product rankings, user preference insights, conversion optimization, and revenue impact prediction. So whenever we are using something related to AI, the most important thing that everyone asks and the concern is our security. So we do have, like OpenSearch already provides OpenSearch authentication methods, and you can also customize it according to your own organization. If you're using something else, you can do that. And we can have IAM roles to that. And with this, like the UI application, you can also share it across your teams so that we will minimize the local testing, and rather like we can have all the logs at central place, like whatever teams are searching and all that. So we can have that with the UI application. And we have least privilege roles. So if anything is in production, you shouldn't give like write access, so what I will suggest. And if it's your very important data, you should just use the read privileges. And we have audit logs. So if you have a centralized application, you can have the audit logs. You can see everything at once, which user is logging in, whatever they are querying and giving the prompts for. And we should have a kill switch. Yeah. Some of the key takeaways from this talk is agentic AI needs tools. Agents are really powerful, but you need to use it wisely. Otherwise, we have seen certain cases where the data is deleted by the agent, so don't do that. That's why it's very important to use a read-only mode. And MCP standardizes tool access. So if you have multiple MCPs, like for maybe Splunk or GitHub or other tools, you can have all at a single place rather than going to different LLM models and searching for it. And in this, I would like to specify this. So in this demo, we used the standalone MCP because some of the teams might not be ready to migrate to the newer version of OpenSearch because teams take time and test everything before jumping to the newer version. So we thought of that standalone would be a better approach right now if you don't want to switch, and we can see if on the lower versions as well it's working as same as expected. And we have simple, secure, and developer-friendly interface with OpenSearch, and it's framework ready. We can use any LLM models with this, like Claude, and Claude is the best one what I've seen. So Bedrock and any other model, we can use it. And we can start small within our teams, like maybe 4 or 5 teams, and then we can fine-tune our model, and that's how we can utilize this MCP at its best. So this is us. Thank you so much for listening in. You can connect with us after the talk or on our LinkedIns. Thank you so much.